Cornelius Vanderstar founded AIG, American International Group, in Shanghai, China in 1919. Him and his partner expanded the business rapidly and hired locals as agents. Maurice Greenberg joined the company in 1960 and was focused on making large commercial deals such as life insurance for soldiers. In 2005, speculations arose that AIG's financial transactions were made to look better than they actually were. After regulators hit AIG with subpoenas, Greenberg resigned as CEO. The company then restated its earnings over a 5-year period of time. Martin Sullivan succeeded Greenberg after he was forced to resign from the company. Sullivan testified before the United States House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform regarding the causes and effects of the bailout. Sullivan was also named Worst CEO of All Time in May of 2009.
This just in, the federal government has issued an $85 billion bailout to AIG, who is just one day away from bankruptcy. How did things get so bad for AIG?
Although AIG mainly focuses on selling insurance, it also has separate operating units. One specifically is its financial products unit. This unit, based out of London, was responsible for selling credit default swap contracts. These contracts were supposed to offer protection to investors against default on various assets, including subprime mortgages. In 2008, the housing market began to crumble and the value of the credit default swaps contracts plummeted. This led to a total of $18 billion in losses for AIG over the first 3 quarters of 2008. AIG was forced to put up billions of dollars in collateral, and while they were able to come up with $20 billion, it was not enough. AIG's inability to pay off its collateral led to a downgrade in its credit rating. In turn, the new credit rating required AIG to post an additional $14.5 billion in collateral. Since AIG could not come up with cash quickly enough, they were faced with a liquidity crisis. Without government intervention, AIG would be bankrupt. On September 16th of 2008, the government decided that AIG was too big of a company to fail. The Federal Reserve was concerned that the bankruptcy of AIG would have a disastrous domino effect around the world. Banks, mutual funds, and other financial institutions in the U.S., Europe, and Asia were major holders of AIG's debt and could suffer if AIG was forced to declare bankruptcy. The Federal Reserve initially lent AIG $85 billion under the condition that the U.S. government will get a 79.9% equity stake in the company in the form of equity participation notes. This was the largest government bailout of a private company in the history of the United States. AIG's stock price dropped over 95% by the time of the announcement, from a high of $70 to $1.25 per share. By May 2009, the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury had increased support to AIG with a $70 billion investment, a $60 billion credit line, and a $52.5 billion to buy mortgage-backed assets owned or guaranteed by AIG. This brought the total of AIG support to $182.5 billion.
Troubles keep mounting for AIG. Just a week after receiving their $85 billion bailout, it was reported that top executives went on a $440,000 trip to California, which included spa treatments, golf outings, and fancy dinners.
A week after AIG received their $85 billion bailout, AIG employees and distributors participated in a California retreat which cost $444,000. The retreat consisted of spa treatments, banquets, and golf outings. AIG reported the trip was a reward for their top-performing life insurance agents that was planned before the bailout. Less than 24 hours after the news of the lavish retreat leaked to the media, it was reported that the Federal Reserve had agreed to give AIG an additional loan of up to $37.8 billion. This drew up even more controversy because the Associated Press reported that on October 17th, AIG executives spent $86,000 on a previously scheduled English hunting trip.
I'm going to hand it down to Betsy in downtown Westchester, getting people's reactions about AIG executives receiving bonuses after having to receive a bailout from the federal government.
If you were an AIG executive, would you accept a bonus this year?
No,
Why is that?
because they don't deserve it.
Probably.
Why?
I would feel entitled. Maybe I did the work. It's a part of the arrangement.
I would not. If I could do anything, I would return the money, and if I couldn't return it to AIG, I would accept it and give it to charitable causes.
No, I would not accept the bonus, considering the fact there is a downturn and the fact that we had to bail them out, meaning the taxpayer.
AIG reacted to this report and apologized for not canceling the trip. After AIG received the bailout, they plan to pay about $165 million in bonuses to executives in the same business that brought the company to the brink of collapse over the last year. The bonus plan covered 400 employees, and the bonuses ranged from as little as $1,000 to as much as $6.5 million. Word of the massive bonuses stirred up new controversy, so much that the Secretary of the Treasury, Timothy Geithner, told the firm these bonuses were unacceptable and demanded they be renegotiated. Unfortunately, the bonuses went forward because lawyers said they were contractually obligated to pay them. After all the scandals, many people didn't think AIG was deserving of the bailout and saw it as the government allowing businessmen to avoid paying the full price of their failures. But AIG has managed to pay back a majority of their debt to the federal government. They currently only owe $9.3 billion to the federal government, which the central bank holds as collateral valued at almost twice that. The government bailout enabled AIG to be profitable again, and they've spent the past 2 years selling excess assets and modernizing its core insurance businesses and have restored their financial position to relatively stable. They were able to generate $7.8 billion in net income in 2010, and their total equity in 2010 was $113.3 billion. AIG is on the road to recovery, but this could have been avoided if AIG developed a strong ethical culture. Years of unethical CEOs damaged AIG's culture, and control within the organization was lost because they were lacking any form of behavioral control. AIG didn't instill any code of conduct, so employees and CEOs acted in their own self-interest.
4 years after being bailed out by the federal government, AIG is taking a step forward and getting back into home mortgages, but only time will tell how things will really work out for AIG. This is Rachel signing off for 6 ABC News.